Hello, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to another Broken Sword live stream.
Hello, guys. How is everyone doing today? I'm feeling good.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling warm.
Yes, we've had a bunch of cold days. As soon as it gets hot, for one random day, we're sat in a box.
Yep. As soon as we want to go live, the sun comes out. Okay, we will try our best to answer as many comments as we can. However, this is a discussion about a particular topic, so let's try our best not to get too distracted. We got a few hellos. Hello, Flame of the West. Hello, Shmoony.
Shmoony.
How's it going? Hi, guy. My guys. Good morning. Hello, guys. So glad to see you. So glad to see you too, Maxim. Okay, so if you can't already tell by the thumbnail and the title of the video, today we are talking about Halbrand.
Yes, the mysterious man who has appeared from the sea, saved Galadriel, and, well, just brings up so many questions about what is going on with him.
He does bring up a lot of questions. There's many theories floating around the internet. I'm sure you've all seen them. I'm sure you've all got your own theories. I think the strongest one is probably the one we'll start with. Are we ready to go straight into that?
Let's give it a couple of minutes.
Okay,
it always takes a couple of minutes for people to come in. So, yeah, well, I mean, to start off with, why don't you let us know quickly your ideas? We've got our 4 topics lined up, but there might be a surprise one that suddenly appears in a comment that we could talk about too.
True. So the Hunter has just said, good morning. Good morning. It's 3 p.m. here, but yeah. Did you all see the Games Radar trailer that shows Adar talking? Some more orc clips too. I don't think did you see that?
I feel like I might have.
Is that a recent thing? Dude, it is so warm in here.
Yeah. No, I think I saw the headline, but I couldn't watch it with audio at the time. And now I forgot to go back to it. Which is a very normal thing.
Yeah, I'm seeing some comments coming through already, trying to back up people's theories that they are sticking to. We will cover all possibilities in just a sec. We'll just allow a few more people to tune in before we get to it. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of theories here, and we're definitely going to get to all of them.
Yes. We are vaguely prepared for this, so hopefully it goes okay.
Now, before we get to the specifics of Halbrand himself, what I want to know from you guys is, how do you feel about them introducing characters like this? Obviously, characters like, we don't know who Halbrand is. As far as we know right now, he's just a brand new character and may indeed stay that way.
Yeah.
He might not end up being a character that we're already all familiar with. But how do you guys feel about them introducing characters like this in order to give us some kind of, well, to give us this?
Yeah.
To give us the opportunity to talk, to debate, to theorize and speculate. I think that's what's making this show enjoyable, because we all know they've changed a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff that people are not happy with, ourselves included, right? We have our gripes with the show, but stuff like this, stuff like the Stranger Mystery, like these keep me hooked, and they make me want to see more.
Oh yes, 100%. And it's something that we've kind of stuck to really from the first trailer when people started saying stuff, is that until we've seen the first season realistically, it's hard to make a full judgment. There's so many of these mysteries, like the who is the stranger, who is Halbrand, that until there's a payoff to it, it's hard to tell if it's been a good or bad thing. Exactly. It's fun to have these theories along the way, but if they come to some great conclusion that is well earned, it'll be worth it. If they pull something out of nowhere, yeah, it's going to be a pain and awful.
I agree.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I just saw a comment then. They go very quick, guys. If we miss your comment, I apologize. One here from Jar Kai 1. It's a classic Bad Robot mystery box. I think it probably is. The difference here being that when Bad Robot did that, like this came from Lost, right? The TV show Lost.
Yes, I believe so.
J.J. Abrams. When they did this with the mystery on the island and whatnot, they didn't know where they were going with it. So it was literally a mystery box to everyone, the writers included.
Yes.
That's not the case with this show. We do know that for a fact. We know that they have scripts written for the next 3 seasons. So they definitely, and they have an outline for all 5. So we know where they're going.
Yes, although I seen a thing this week that says the cast don't know.
That's interesting.
So the showrunners know where they're going with all these things, but the cast don't actually have a clue what happens past the first season at this point. Although I'm assuming that must be different now, because haven't they started shooting season 2? Or they're about to start shooting season 2? But yeah, so But it also, in a way though, that worries me as well.
Yeah.
Because say for a character like Halbrand, so the actor, forgotten his name off the top of my head, Charlie Vickers.
Oh, don't ask me. I'm terrible.
I think. But yeah, so for example, if he doesn't know what happens past season 1, but something about his character is major for like season 3, that could really affect how he portrays, plays the character.
Yeah, that's very true.
So hopefully that isn't an issue, or they are just kind of making fibs to the media type thing. But it will be interesting to see how they actually deal with that in the end.
True. Anton says, is there going to be spoilers today? I'm waiting for the full season to come out. Yes, we will be talking about stuff that's happened in episodes 1, 2, and 3. So if you haven't seen them and you don't want to know what's going on, then definitely don't stick around.
Yes. But now we'll get into it in just a moment with just one more thing. But this week, we are not doing a live watch party again at the ridiculously early hours for us. But we will be going live with an after party not long after the show has aired. So for UK time, we've said we're going to go live about 8 a.m.
Yep.
Which probably should have known off the top of my head what the time differences are for everyone else. But 8 a.m. in the UK, whatever time that will be, we'll schedule it after this live stream is finished. But come watch the episode and then join in with a chat with us on Friday.
Yeah, we'll be going into our immediate thoughts.
Yes.
The watch party was super fun, but it was like 4:30 a.m. We were very tired.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just an hour of you guys sat there with us in silence. So
yeah, we may as well just have more time to kind of like take in everything that's happened and have a better chat in a little bit of time afterwards.
And be a bit more awake. Harvey, how's it going, my friend? Thanks for tuning in.
Awesome.
We are very well, thank you. Morgoth says video 164.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Morgoth. How do you keep score? Do you have like a tally somewhere? Because I wouldn't even know this.
I mean, he gets them on every single video. So
True.
But yeah. 100, that's nuts though. Think about it. Oh.
You can talk about that one too.
Ah, yes. Ooh, I flashed up on screen. Yeah, but sorry, just 164 videos are on now. We've only been doing this channel for a little over a year. What was it, last June?
Yeah.
I believe.
July, yeah.
So that's crazy. That's a lot of videos.
That is a lot of videos. Okay.
Let's get on.
Now that the introductions are done.
Yes, give people time to sit down, get comfortable. Let's start the subject.
I mean, including us too, there's 172 of us in here. So I think that's a good time to start.
Yes.
Now, we will begin with the most common theory.
Okay.
And that is he Sauron?
Yes. I have notes, just in case I forget something.
Now, no matter what we say or what is said in general, there's always comments on anything that we do to do with the Rings of Power saying Halbrand is Sauron.
Yes, it's the most popular one. I can kind of understand a rough, like, why people may be going down that route, but I also don't think it's going to be the case. However, there is a strong argument for it.
There is a very strong argument.
Yes.
That's hard to deny.
Yes, it could be, what's the word, like a double bluff with him. So it could be the case. Can't rule it out. So let's go through all the bits that kind of point towards that he is, in fact, Sauron.
Yeah. Just want to say hi, Matt. How's it going?
Hey, Matt.
And hi, Jack. Thanks for tuning in. Will the stream be saved? Yes, it will be saved. So if you can't tune in live right now, you can go back and watch it.
Yes.
So, we're not going to miss any super chats, guys. Don't you worry. So before we go into the Sauron theory, let's get this. So Priscilla TV, thank you so much for the super chat. Sauron has been with Celebrimbor already. Forge ready by spring. So he cannot be Halbrand. Halbrand cannot get Galadriel, so he will set for a ring. I definitely see the logic there. We did talk about this very briefly when we covered... it was one of our watch parties, I think, or a pro and con. We did talk about Celebrimbor mentioning that the Forge had to be ready at a certain point, and we were just like, well, he's immortal. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Why would there be a rush to get something done?
Exactly.
The only reason that there would be a rush is if someone is whispering in his ear, I need my Forge. So that's a very good point, and we agree. And thank you very much for the super chat.
Yeah, the only reason I really think the spring thing really that makes sense is he wants to get it done as quick as possible before people ask too many questions. The longer, if it was going to take like a 10-year project, then that gives people time to kind of look into it and see who's behind it all. Yeah. So, I'm more along those lines of thinking as well.
Yes, thank you very much for the super chat and the comment.
Okay.
So,
Sauron himself then. So we have many things.
Yes.
Should we go through them in order of how they happened or just how they come to our head?
Just anything. I think the best thing to do here would be to kind of highlight the reasons why people think that he is Sauron and then see if we can debuff those theories. We do have another super chat, though. Again, we're not going to skip out on super chats. I believe. Oh, okay. Josh, we're going to get there, my friend.
Yes.
We got to get through Sauron first. But yeah, it's a strong theory, too. Thank you so much for the super chat. We'll get there.
We will loop back. Okay, so straight away then, the first thing we see of Halbrand at all in the series, he just abandons his friends, fellow survivors, and is just happy to leave them to die. That's not a very potentially kingly, kind thing to do. That's a very much people don't matter thing. That's a Sauron type mentality.
I agree. Yeah, it's not. He's not a hero that I would want to follow. So just straight away, it feels like the writers are telling us, just discreetly, like, this is not particularly a good guy.
Yeah.
But then straight off the bat of that, he saves Galadriel, who he's known for a grand total of 2 minutes. So, I mean, I'm hoping it's not bad writing. I've got to put that out there. I am very much hoping that's not the case. But those two things within 5 minutes of knowing Halbrand as a character do contradict one another, if you know what I mean.
Yes, and it's interesting to think whether he saved Galadriel because she's an elf. Was there something special about her? Was there some reason that he just looked at this woman elf and was like, nope, she is worth saving? Or was it just one of those that I really hate the way to say this, but was it like an attraction thing? Is it just because of that kind of reason?
It could be. I mean, at the end of the day, despite what you think of the casting for Galadriel, I enjoy the casting, but I don't enjoy the Galadriel story in Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Galadriel as a character is meant to be one of, if not the most beautiful beings in existence, right? So obviously a man such as Halbrand is going to be in some way attracted to her.
Yes.
How could he not? She's meant to be just mesmerizing, right? So it could be as simple as that. Or, as some people in the comments are saying, it could just be plot armor.
Yes.
That's also the case. I just hope it's not just bad writing.
Yep. I mean, like we kind of mentioned, until we get payoffs, we're not going to really know. There's bits of dialogue and stuff already that, we could put down to bad writing. But we kind of got to wait story-wise to give them a season or so to get us to an end point of storylines and plot points to really decide if we're happy or not, or if they are really just saying yes to whatever Amazon wants and not really thinking too hard about it.
So while we're discussing these points, we will delve in and out of the comments, the ones that are on topic. So there's one here from Michelle who says, but wouldn't he have elf ears? It's a great point. Obviously, we know that Sauron wandered Middle Earth in disguise, I guess, but as Anatar. Now, just because we know that he appeared as Anatar doesn't mean that he didn't appear in other forms. At the end of the day, he has the ability to shapeshift. So there's nothing saying that he couldn't take the form of a man. I mean,
if you have the ability to turn yourself into a werewolf or into a snake or then a being, there's no reason you could change your ears. So if he was saying he was an elf and would have ears and stuff, maybe, but there's no reason he has to be like that.
I agree. There's another comment here that says he probably realizes he can benefit from being around her. Yeah, I agree with that. He probably thinks if I can manipulate and control the elves, then maybe my plan to eventually control them using jewelry. It does make sense. But on the flip side of that, and I think the point that's the main debuff to me is surely Galadriel would see through it. She is one of the Eldar.
That is the problem. That's one of the biggest problems if he is Sauron, is that Galadriel shouldn't be fooled.
No.
She should see for what he really is. Even if she can't necessarily point, oh, you are Sauron, she should be able to see that there are evil intentions with him quickly. Especially for the amount of time already she's been with him. That would be a massive, massive mistake if that's how they went.
I agree. I agree.
But there are more things that point to him being Sauron, so we will get through them all. So next we have then, let's go for when they get to Numenor then.
Okay.
Halbrand has a very interesting interest in smithing.
He does.
Smithing. Yes. He straight away wants to be one of the smithing guild. I forgot the name they give them.
The Builders Guild or something, isn't it? No,
the Builders Guild and the smithing is slightly different, I think.
Yeah.
But basically he wants to be able to smith in their works and he wants to learn from them and basically show that he can do what they can do, basically. So basically a random guy is saying that he can be as good of a smith as these trained Numenorians who are known for creating amazing weapons.
Yes.
So that's a big claim.
It is a big claim.
A general man from the Southlands should probably not. Maybe he'd be overconfident and can't back it up, but you don't know. He might be able to.
Yeah, I'm not buying it just because he's good at like blacksmithing and forging and whatnot. There's plenty of people in Middle Earth that are good and great and probably think they're good. I don't know. I'm not buying it. I think this potentially leads more on to another one of our theories that we'll get to soon, more than it does Sauron. But again, people are pretty convinced by this. It doesn't do it for me. I don't have a reason specifically why.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
But yeah, it's just one of those that can technically be argued for.
Yes. Very quickly before we move on, we have a super chat from Renee Love. Thank you so much. So it says, thanks for all the content and great work. It's a pleasure.
Yes.
Don't know what else to say. We really, really appreciate your support. That means a lot.
We really do. If you have a question as well, please put one down below and we will respond to it as well. I always feel bad if there's a super chat without a question.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Yeah. Shmoony says it might be the show throwing people off.
I think there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
I think otherwise half the cast could be Sauron at this point, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think they're doing a lot of leading people down certain pathways, which they're never going to come to anything. I guess just so it's not obvious.
Yeah.
Which the intent I feel is right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The conviction of it maybe not.
Ian says it exactly how I feel. I don't buy the forging hint. Too direct to be believable.
Which
I agree.
I hope to be true, but that is what worries me about the writers, is we don't know yet if that's just how they're going to be, or if they are going to be a lot more subtle with things.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that it will be more subtle and there'll be a twist later on and we're like, that's just amazing how they did that. Time will tell.
There was another scene where he's drinking in Numenor at the bar and he causes some issues, and the kind of gang of lads come over and threaten him, and it's very tense for a moment, and then he says, I'm going to buy everybody a drink. Which, first of all, I didn't like that scene, but we were watching that live, and I remember seeing someone in the comments just put Lord of Gifts.
Yes, that is very much an interesting one. And even just before that part where he's like, is that evil stare he's got? And you're like, oh, he is going to kill them here and now. Yeah. And then he snaps himself out of it, and then he's like, yeah, okay, I'll buy everyone a thing. And it's that like switch, a mentality like that not just a random man would necessarily possess the ability of as such. It's usually a more complex character has that kind of way of being. But yeah, the Lord of Gifts thing for buying everyone's stuff, I do find quite interesting. Yes. I definitely don't think that's actually the case. Like, I don't think that is if they had actually said some silly reference about like a gift giver or something, maybe it would be that bad hint or throwing us off again. I don't know, but that would be a nice subtle nod if they were doing it that way. Yeah. But with everything else,
Jack says everyone asks who's Sauron, but nobody asks how Sauron. I know, it's real sad, right? There's a comment here which is a really great point, and this one is... It depends where they go in the next scene with Halbrand, but yeah, Sauron was held captive by the king of Numenor, and that has just happened to Halbrand. Yeah. That's true.
Which I guess as well, when Sauron gets captured, technically he has an army in front of him and he surrenders, and basically willingly goes. I guess technically Halbrand does say, let us stay. Like, we're willing to basically be prisoners for a couple of days at least. So he's willingly accepting to not be allowed to go.
If Pharazôn starts visiting Halbrand in jail and Halbrand starts giving him advice and they get closer, then I'm going to be sold that it is Sauron. So that's the biggest thing for me. I think him just being locked up doesn't do enough to convince me. I mean, at the end of the day, lots of people get locked up. Doesn't mean they're Sauron.
Yeah, I mean, we did just see him beat up a load of people, so it's not... Like, it's right. It's a different, like, the reason for his jailing is different. So maybe not.
Yeah. But again, if he starts advising Pharazôn, then yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Pharazôn, I think, is worthy of his own video live stream discussion, because the way they're going with that character is just odd at this point. It's not the Pharazôn from the books at all. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they really go with him at the moment.
Is there any other points to argue that that Halbrand is Sauron, or should we move on to the next theory?
I got one more.
Okay.
It's a really bad theory.
Okay.
But I saw it and it made me laugh.
Okay.
I saw this somewhere online. I probably should have written down where I saw it. But basically, so his name now, Halbrand,
Yeah.
is basically saying hell brand. Like he's branding them for hell, like he's a dark lord.
I hope
It's awful, but it's out there. So, you never know. He's got an evil name, maybe.
Yeah.
And that must mean he's Sauron. There
Now-
we go. Clip that bit up, and then that's just the whole video.
There's a comment here, which we have to address as well, from Josh Ramirez. Halbrand's first line of dialogue on the raft was, "Looks can be deceiving."
Yes, that is a very good point to bring up. And it was a very, that felt like an in-your-face kind of hint.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like it's
almost
too obvious.
Yeah, but good point. Very good point.
Yes.
We have a super chat here from the Heyman98. Thank you very much. Do the Blue Wizards have two names like the other Astari, like Aloran Gandalf is equal to Alatar? I think Alatar and Palando are the only known names, right?
They did have other versions of names in other stories, but they didn't have an English name as such.
Like a Gandalf.
Yeah, they didn't have names as that I believe we're aware of.
Which is why they just
Alatar
are
and
addressed as Alatar and Palando in general.
Yeah, Marinitar and Romistamo are the other ones, but that's basically just the same way of calling them. They're more Maya names, I guess.
Yes.
But no, I don't believe we actually have a more standard name for them that's out there. So technically, they could call anyone anything, and it could still end up being a blue wizard.
Cool. Thank you very much for the super chat. Ruggrass, I think you're giving too much credit to the writers. I think they are writing this show for the average viewer who do not know the lore. Many of my friends have no clue who Halbrand could be. It's another possibility.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't feel like we're giving too much credit to the writers yet. We're very much on the fence of they could very much fall down a very steep slope and it'd be awful. But like we kind of said, it's all down to the payoffs. If the payoffs work, the writing works. If they don't, then we look back and go, wow, it was so obvious it was rubbish.
Yeah.
So until we get to that moment and that discovery, we can't really give a definitive answer on it.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's kind of why even after only 3 episodes, well, especially after only 3 episodes, I'm trying not to judge the show too harshly on the things that I don't agree with. Because, like James said, the payoffs could make all the difference.
Yes.
Okay, that pretty much covers Sauron. I think it's probably time now to move on to the next theory.
So.
This one?
Yeah, let's do that one next.
This is also quite a strong one. Could he be one of the Nazgul or the Witch King himself? Do we have a picture?
We do.
What's that?
At the top.
Oh, bear with me.
There we go. Okay, yeah, so the other idea is, now, let's start with, for example, then, that Halbrand is said at, he could be from the line of kings from the Southlands.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, the 9 rings were given to kings of men, or the most powerful of men.
Yeah.
Straight away, that hints that could well end up being him.
Yes. That's something we didn't talk about in the Sauron theory as well, is that if Halbrand is a king, that was never the case with Sauron. Right? So straight away that kind of takes away from that he could be Sauron.
But then he also says he took the thing off a dead body.
Yeah,
so
but
it's one of those.
He's a king of the Southlands. Right. Okay, so does that mean he could be one of the Nazgul? Because the Nazgul were, men of great power and influence, likely kings.
Because there's I understand the idea that saying, he shouldn't have been able to beat up the Númenórean men and stuff. But I also feel like it's not impossible for a man to beat up a Númenórean.
It's not
point blank.
impossible.
It's not like a line that if you're Númenórean, you'll automatically win every fight. It is possible, especially if you're like a kingly man, and that's a lower Númenórean of a later age of Númenóreans. It's not the originals. So it would be possible in that way that he could just be a very powerful man. I mean, think of the kings of Rohan. They are powerful men, but they're obviously in a different way to Númenóreans.
Yeah. But it's just not every Númenórean is going to be a mighty warrior.
Yes.
And the ones that attacked him, they were smiths, right? They were blacksmiths. So if he is an experienced fighter and warrior, then of course he could beat up a bunch of guys that have never had a fight. We don't know, right? So the people that are saying that it's ridiculous that he beat up a bunch of Númenóreans, I don't know. We don't know much about him. It's part of the mystery.
Yep.
Eric says, could he be Camul?
Now this one I like. I like the idea of this. Camul was said to have been from the east. Southlands, I guess, is more south, but it's the same kind of idea. It could work.
It could. I don't see any reason why not.
Mm.
Again, all we know that he was a king from the Southlands.
Yes.
So why not? Why not? We know that things are being adjusted and things are being changed. So I feel like it kind of just works.
But let's put up Jar Kai's one. So go up that one. This is an interesting point to address. So isn't it commonly accepted that the Witch King is a Númenórean king and not a king of middlemen in the south? I believe it is kind of said that there were Númenóreans who became Nazgul, but it's not said all of them were, and it's not said specifically any of their histories. So,
but we do know that the Witch King is the one of greatest power amongst the nine,
yes.
and seeing as Númenóreans are essentially superior to men in most ways, that it makes sense that he would be from Númenor. So
yes, so that's kind of the point. Like it's not written as such, like this is who he was, but it's the general idea that he kind of has to be. So it does lead you down the line of it is something they could change for the show. Yeah, because it's not written in stone.
Exactly.
So you are basically right, but also
John says, "Oops, I'm late. I'm placing my bet on Camul since he is from the east. Although I have always liked the traditional Eastern aesthetic for him." Yeah, again, like we're saying, I think Camul is a strong theory. It's quite hard to argue against him being one of the Nazgul at the moment. There's easy ways to argue against him being Sauron, even though they're putting out lots of hints that it could be. Again, like we said, they're probably throwing us off the trail.
One of my strongest arguments for me thinking he's not Camul will come with a later theory, so I won't bring it up yet.
Okay, interesting. Does that mean it's time to move on?
I believe so, because there's not, apart from him being a king and a man and potentially evil and corruptible, he seems happy to go down the evil route. I think that's kind of the hints towards Nazgul.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So we'll move on then. I suppose there's one that we could talk about, which we haven't really planned on, but someone did bring it up in the comments, and that's, is he potentially Theo's father?
Okay, yes. I mean, technically that doesn't change like the Nazgul theory.
No.
He could be both.
Yes.
But that is interesting to bring up. I definitely think that there is a strong possibility of that. Although the line of kings, like being from, he should be a line of kings, and there's no hint at any kind of lineage like that from Theo. And like usually that's kind of like pre-planned, and there's like little bits in there that might hint towards that kind of idea.
True, but we also, there's going to be something to do with Theo's father, right? Because there's a little back and forth when they're in that little house when he finds the sword, when that kid is saying about his father running away, and he's like, no, he didn't leave. And there's going to be more to that. And we also know that Halbrand ran away from his situation. So I feel like they could make a connection there.
On the assumption the writers do a good job. That's
true.
That's the cynical side of it. As that's if there's a good payoff to things, it could be the case. Or it could have been a throwaway line to be like, oh, he's a loner boy who has no father figure.
Good point here from John. If he's Theo's father, would that have anything to do with the blade being attracted to him? Kingly blood. It's a great point. Again, and a few comments have said this, we may be giving the writers too much credit. Maybe us as a community, all these Tolkien fans should have just got together and wrote a script. But we'll see. It's hard to judge until we have payoffs. But yeah, it's a great point. Okay. I certainly, to round that one off, I certainly think it's possible that he could be Theo's father as well as something else. Or just Theo's father. That could just be that storyline. Yeah, it could be. But again, I'm going against. Okay, we have another two to cover. Okay.
There's not much really that backs up these in a way. They're more like...
There's some.
There's some. But I mean,
not a lot.
They won't be massive discussions as such, I should say.
This one is... I find this one interesting. Is he an ancestor of Rohan?
Yes. And by this, we kind of mean a man who will go on to set the foundations of what Rovanian and Rohan will become in later years.
Yes. So, bear with me.
Hold on.
It's not the greatest fit.
No, because these were the portrait ones.
No, what one should we go for?
Let's go for that. Yeah, let's go for that. So this is one that you brought up.
Yes.
Because I'd completely forgotten this, and it's a brilliant little thing. This is Halbrand's hand.
Yes. Now, we saw this in the initial release of teaser posters.
Yes.
We had a close-up of everyone's weapon. But we can see there's some other shots from trailers like, this one, that is in fact Halbrand. That armor, that sword belongs to him. Now, it's very curious to me that the head of the sword is, it's highlighting all these, is a horse, right? Now, take from that what you will. As soon as I see horse insignias and I was going to say logos, but that's not the right word. You know what I mean? As soon as I see horses in Middle Earth, you immediately go Rohan. Why wouldn't you? They are the horse lords. Now, obviously, we know that the horse lords. We know that Rohan wasn't founded in the Second Age, and this show is set in the Second Age. It was set how many years into the Third Age? Founded rather.
About 2,500.
Oh wow, okay, so quite a long time.
Yes. However, it's not like it's this kind of goes with the same idea. If they're willing to introduce Gandalf as the stranger, for example, who should appear in the Third Age, then they may be willing to do this as well.
True, or like it could just be because the land that eventually becomes Rohan is Calanarthon, right? And that in the Third Age, that is a land that's given to the Horse Lords by Steward of Gondor at the time. Name escapes me. Kirion?
I think so.
Yeah. And I feel like that it's almost a storyline set in stone. I don't feel like the Tolkien estate would.
Okay. I think we need to accept at this point, no storyline is set in stone. Again, we've said many times, we hope it might be the case that they don't mess with things, but I think we have to accept everything is up for change. In some small way or in some big way.
I suppose.
I would hope not. I feel like we may be setting ourselves up for disappointment if we really want to say nothing will be changed.
It's true. It's true. We've got a super chat which we'll get to first. Okay. Could this be why they show Galadriel happy on a horse? He goes with her, joins like the horse charge, and he creates Rohan next to Lothlorien. I mean, to be honest, I don't know why they show Galadriel happy on a horse. It was just weird.
I saw a thing actually that kind of discusses like the elves just not have horses in this show because the whole idea of Elrond and Celebrimbor, they walk to Khazad-dûm, and then it looks like they're just going to walk back. Well, Celebrimbor on his own is just going to walk back, and then Galadriel like hears about we can ride somewhere, we don't have to walk, and she's so happy. They're like horses just not a thing to the elves or something. They're like, yeah, is that just like a man thing? It seems like a completely like stupid point. Yes, I will admit that. But it's also one of those you kind of can go, well, yeah, why wouldn't you just ride horses?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen comments saying that Galadriel clearly really loves horses and perhaps he creates this sword for her. That's possible. I don't know. But it's a great point, Josh.
See,
you were Singleton. And
I can't think off the top of my head. Is that horse in the hand picture? Is that an image of the horse that she was riding?
It was a white horse, I think.
I don't know.
Let's get into the reasons why. Reasons why, other than just the sword, it could be something to do with an ancestor of Rohan. Now, obviously, it's a horse head. Also, and I saw this on Facebook. I apologize. I don't know who it was that posted it, but I'm just going by what I've seen. Apparently, his name is Rohirric. Again, this is second-hand information. Supposedly, Halbrand means strong sword in Old English, which is the language that Tolkien used to represent the language of Rohan. Interesting. We also, in some of the trailers, we do actually see Halbrand on horseback.
Yes.
For example, the image we had up a second ago. This one.
There we go.
He's on horseback there, I believe.
I think that's a horse ear in the corner.
Yeah, we see that he's clearly a very good rider. And we also know that he's talented at blacksmithing, not silversmithing, which apparently is quite important to Rohan's culture, right? So they have armor, weapons, horseshoes. It just kind of makes sense.
Yes.
And now this last bit of information, which again, this is secondhand. I've just read this, so maybe take this with a pinch of salt, but it's important to bring up. Composer Bear McCreary chose to use the Norwegian Hardanger fiddle as the primary instrument to represent Halbrand. This is an unusual instrument and has been used in only a few cinematic scores before now. The most notable being in the Lord of the Rings films, where Howard Shore used the same instrument to represent Rohan and its people. So there's a musical connection there, which I find very interesting. If that's true.
If that is correct, I absolutely love that.
Yeah,
they're the kind of nods that I really appreciate, and I love the fact it's one of those that it's not obvious, it's not in your face.
No.
But as soon as you hear it, you go, "That is brilliant."
Well, as of right now, this theory is probably the least in your face because 3 episodes in, there's almost no real evidence.
Yes.
Other than stuff that we know is coming, like the sword, like the fact that he will eventually be horse riding.
Yes.
We don't really have any other evidence to suggest it.
No.
So,
No, that is very true.
Yeah.
And this is, in fact, the point I will loop back to now is why I don't believe he could end up being Kamul. Because Kamul is supposed to be from the east. And I believe he's going to be settling more in the lands around what will be Gondor and Rohan and whatnot. So I don't believe he will be counted as an east man. He could still become one of the Nazgul, potentially even still the Witch King, sorry. But I don't feel like it means he can be Kamul because of it, what I believe these hints are showing of where he's going to end up going. So yeah.
Interesting point here. Jimmy says Halbrand does sound like a Rohirrim name. It does. We have Erkenbrand.
Yes.
In the books. So Brand is clearly a Rohirric name. So the evidence for this one is probably the strongest in my opinion.
Yes, I would very much agree with that.
It's also the theory that I like the most, if I'm honest. I don't want him to found Rohan because that goes against canon. But if it ends up that he's like an ancestor of Eol or something.
That's it. They need to have ancestors. There needs to be an idea there in the first place. It's not like Eol just popped up and was like, you know what? I like horses. Everything's going to be horsey. And this is going to be my land. Like, there was obviously a lot of things before him that set that up. So I could get on board.
I could as well. We have a super chat from the Heyman98. Thank you very much. I will say this show has a lot of silly scene continuity errors, almost as if scenes are missing.
Well, the interesting point is, if you don't know, is that they did cut the episodes down on the season.
Right.
There was originally supposed to be 10 episodes, and they cut it down to 8. Now, I will admit, I don't know if that was before or after finishing shooting. I believe it was after. I believe they shot everything, then they cut it down. So it may well mean that they have cut. Well, it's going to have to mean they've cut scenes out. So yeah, it could be a case that there are things missing. Yeah,
I haven't really picked up on continuity errors, if I'm honest. I've picked up on weird pacing, weird dialogue, and strange storylines.
Yeah,
but I haven't. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I will on rewatches. But yeah, but thank you very much for the super chat.
Yes.
So, how do you guys feel about the Ancestor of Rohan theory? We like it, and I think this is certainly better than him being Sauron.
Yes, I feel like I am on board with this one. This is probably the one that I feel strongest connection with.
Yeah.
Which means it's going to be completely wrong. They're going to go completely the opposite, and he's going to be the founder of the Shire.
I just saw a comment then.
Yeah.
Matthew says, could he set up pre-Rohan? Yeah, I think that's essentially what we're going for. Eol was the king that Cirion, the steward of Gondor, awarded the land of Calanadon to, which became Rohan. But these people, these original founders of Rohan, need to have ancestors, and I think that's kind of
yes.
It's a theory I like and I can get on board with for sure.
Yes.
Okay, that covers that theory. We have one theory left to cover, unless you guys can bring up any others. The musical connection is kind of lit, to be honest.
Yeah,
I agree. If it's again, that was secondhand research. I apologize. I don't have the person that I saw. I don't have the name of the person that wrote it, but yeah, if that's true. Awesome and great spot if it is.
Yes.
Comment here I do want to address from Maxime Andreev. Sorry, I have a question for you guys. What's your favorite theme so far? I'm in love with Numenor's. It's a toss-up for me between Numenor and Khazad-dûm, but I do like Numenor.
I would say I've got a top and then a very close joint second. Top is Khazad-dûm for me.
Okay. Yeah.
That I just feel like it was just absolutely perfect. Absolutely loved it. But I also do have a joint second and a very close joint second of Numenor, because it was phenomenal. And actually the Harfoots.
It's quite a good one.
I feel like the Harfoots just does such a good job of them.
Yeah.
And
it's the most fitting theme, I think.
Yeah. So like I can't, even if they're not my favorite storyline, I can't deny that the theme is great.
Yeah, let's be honest. Outside of the stranger mystery, the Harfoot storyline is quite dull.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's get on to our fifth and final theory, I guess.
Yeah.
And that is, could he be the king of the dead? Now, this is an interesting one.
Yes. And it's one that's popped up a bit more recently.
There's been plenty of comments in the chat actually saying, could he be the dead man, the dead king?
I mean, at this point, there's no reason to say he couldn't. So
Right.
we've kind of got the hint, and it kind of links, I guess, a bit into the Rohan idea as such, in more that he might end up in those lands that hint towards Rohan. Because, so with the Oathbreakers, they were kind of men who lived in and around the White Mountains, I believe, which is basically the border between Gondor and Rohan, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of hints with that whole Ancestors of Rohan idea where he might end up, and where his people, if he still stays as that king idea of a new following, maybe he takes the survivors from the Southlands and creates this new place for them all to live here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously, in time, goes to say he will fight on the side and go challenge Sauron. But maybe his people all go, well, actually, no, we just lived through the beginning of it. We don't want to go fight his big army and him as a greater threat than what he destroyed us all as. We want to stay here. So, ends up being cursed and turning into the King of the Dead.
It does kind of work. Like, we know, obviously, being on Numenor, that Isildur will be familiar with him.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that, I mean, there's a question here from Patrick. Where would he get an army from, though? Well, they are clearly hinting that he is a king. Kings in Middle-earth normally tend to have armies.
Yes, and especially because they've hinted at the Southlands, and we now see that there are many people in the Southlands, and it's unlikely every single one of them will be killed off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is possible.
It does kind of make sense to me. Like, we know, and we've already discussed this, that he has shown some kind of cowardly actions. He's clearly running from something.
Yes.
And that sort of trait, that coward trait, kind of just works with the King of the Dead. Like, we know he was cursed for refusing to fight. So yeah, I don't know. I can get on board with this. It's similar to the Rohan one, like you said, and I can accept it. Again, going back to the Sauron one, I can't accept. I wouldn't accept. I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
But this one, this is a good one.
Yeah, and I feel like my mind's just gone blank on me completely. Nope, it's gone.
Okay. Chris says being an Oathbreaker makes sense. Oathbreaker King makes sense because they've already hinted the people of the Southlands were fighting for Morgoth, plus they're moving because of the orcs. Exactly. So there's almost nothing to contradict or debuff this.
Yeah.
Right now.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's just come back to me. My point was only going to be was that Halbrand, all his characteristics have shown he's all about saving himself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it would hint to having the same traits that would lead you to doing something that would turn you into the King of the Dead. That was the point. Wasn't really worth it. So yeah, it's an interesting one, and it's one of these that we need more of it to kind of push us towards one of these answers. Like the kind of a lot of what we're taking from the more of these last two ideas of the Rohan idea and the King of the Dead idea are coming from, well, a poster for one for Rohan, and trailer footage that we haven't seen in the show itself yet of him riding. Yeah. So we, again, like everything that has kind of been shown in the trailers, we need more context to a lot of this to understand, because we might see these things and it's actually like, maybe he's not a great rider, and just there was one shot that was an epic shot they put in. Yeah. But in general, he's not a good rider. Yeah. Or he might be that, or instead the other way, he could just be put as like, oh my god, you're an incredible rider. He's like, you are one with the horse.
Your destiny lies with the horse lords.
Yeah. So it's like because we just don't know the context yet.
We've said this from the very start. Context is so important when judging this show. Like when people were judging the trailers. It's easy to judge dialogue from a trailer when the scene is out of context. When you see it in context, it can make a lot more sense. Yes. And that's the same with theorizing things like this. It's very easy to, like you just said, say, oh, well, he's holding a horse sword and is riding a horse, so he could also do a Rohan. But in the context of the scene itself, it might be the complete opposite. Yeah.
That's just it.
Could the stranger be the necromancer? I mean, that's one of the theories, I suppose, but it's our least favorite.
Yeah. I just don't think he'd be. He's not going to be Sauron. I really can't accept that he would be Sauron, but who knows?
Yeah. So, okay, yeah. Just to clarify, the necromancer is just Sauron.
Oh right, yeah. Sorry.
So Adrian says he also has psychotic traits. Oh god, my speaking.
Heat
words. He also has psychotic traits based on how he violently lashed out in the alley. This is a bigger hint to his character than him saying he ran away, I think. I mean, the thing is with that, yes, he lashes out violently, but he's also acting in self-defense. He gets punched twice, I believe, before he lashes out.
So... Oh, the first thing he does is try to run. He tries to run through him, and they push him back.
Yeah.
So his the very first thing is actually he tries to give the thing back, the pendant
back.
back.
You got me, don't hit me.
Yeah, he's basically like, let's just, let's pretend this didn't happen. Take it back. I will do nothing here. And then they're like, no, we don't just do that. So he tries to run and not fight again. So it's actually on the third attempt, like the third thing where he actually fights. Well, technically you've also got where he walks away earlier on when they're at the tables as well. Mm-hmm. So there's actually 3 instances of him avoiding a fight first before he actually does. Yeah. So it's lashing out may be a bit strong because he almost has tried his best to not.
Yeah.
But that could also be a case of if you're going for the Sauron ideas, he's trying to hide his power as much as possible. And he's like, if I fight, I'm really going to have to refrain.
But on this point, and this actually worries me a little, he's clearly got this ability. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to call it power, but this ability that he's trying not to use, right? He clearly knows, he says, please don't do this. He knows that if he wants to and if he has to, he's going to absolutely smash these guys, right? But what I'm concerned about with that is that's just a hint of him being this new reluctant king. And he is just a new character, and they're just doing the Aragorn storyline all over again. Yes. So that does worry me, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean... I get the idea that it could be interesting to see basically the Aragorn story where Aragorn fails. So he's the reluctant king that ends up giving in to temptation and running away from his destiny as such, which goes towards the Nazgul theory most likely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's theories. You can make them all work in one way if you wish. You can make them all not work in another way. It depends what you kind of want to stick to, which ideas you like the most.
Yeah. There's still comments like, he's Sauron. And we said this at the start, no matter how much we kind of prove that it shouldn't be, or other people prove that it shouldn't be, people are so convinced that it's Sauron. And I think because people are so convinced, the writers are sat there like, ha, 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 got you.
This is it.
Halbrand
is Frodo.
It was right there in front of us the whole time.
Man, they've really compressed the time a bit, haven't they? I like it.
Watch Amazon pull a rabbit out of its hat and make him the mouth of Sauron. That would be a shock.
The mouth of Sauron is a Numenorean, so that one really, again, we want to say can't be. Don't know what they'll do, but I'm going to say can't be for now.
I'm going to bring up this one from Joseph Moore. The real plot twist, Galadriel is Sauron. I mean, you know what? I hate what they've done with Galadriel so much. It's so against her character that I think I would prefer her be Sauron than her be Galadriel.
Yeah, you almost like, I guess the only thing that okay. I don't like this, but it's kind of come in my head, so I'm going to bring it up anyway. And this goes back to Halbrand being Sauron.
Oh, okay.
So, basically, obviously, in terms of the One Ring, if we think of it, if you're in vicinity of that, it's evil, it corrupts, and it kind of makes people worse being around it. Well, if Halbrand is Sauron, is him being around Galadriel making her worse, as in not Galadriel, because his essence as such is corrupting her and turning her into a not Galadriel.
Nah, because even in the ice caves and stuff, when they go to whatever fortress it's supposed to be, into Umno or Angband or whatever it was.
But at that point, I could forgive her character more in the first episode or so, because it was a kind of a case of she is almost still grieving for her brother, and this is all for him. Whereas now it's kind of getting a bit more petty, I didn't like it at the beginning, but I could understand where they were trying to maybe go with it. Whereas now I feel like it's a bit more, what are you doing? But yeah, like I said, I don't really think that that's what will happen and should happen, and in any good story will happen. But it popped in my head, so I thought I'd bring it up.
Fair enough. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but I feel like Galadriel's been off since the start. You can defend it, but yeah. We have a super chat here from Jake Johnson. Cool name, bro. Halbrand is Rosie. Changed my mind. You know what? I'm not even going to attempt to change your mind. I think that's a great theory.
I mean, if Samwise thinks he can tame Halbrand, I'll get on board.
Thanks for the super chat, dude. Appreciate it. Okay, let's delve in. We pretty much covered all the theories now, right?
Yes, that's all the theories we had coming into this. Obviously, if anyone has suddenly thought of something now and wants to bring it up, we can discuss it. But I think those are the main 4.
I think they are
Sauron,
4/5.
Yeah, Sauron, Nazgul, Witch King. One will kind of count as one.
Yeah.
Theo's
father,
forefather of Rohan, and King of the Dead.
Yes.
So
I think they're interesting theories.
Of those, then, in the comments, in the chat now, let us know which one are you most on board with. And I'll put you on the spot now. Which one are you most on board with?
I'm most on board with... I think the one that I can't think of any points to argue against, I would say, is some kind of Ancestor of Rohan. I would like him to have a kind of redeemable, heroic arc and go that way. But the only thing is, it's the king stuff. Like, him being a king of the Southlands and stuff doesn't really work. So I'm going to go, final answer, King of the Dead.
Okay. I love the idea of the King of the Dead. However, I almost just don't trust the writers enough to go that
I know what you mean.
Clever with it. I would love them to, but I'm going to go for the founder of what will become Rohan. That's kind of what I believe more. The king thing, I think, is just shown that he will be a leader later on. He will be a king of his men, women, people.
Yeah.
Just not in the Southlands, in a more peaceful land, which basically, to be fair, the Southlands looked like Rohan when we first saw it before the orcs were kind of coming. So yeah, I feel like they could go back. This looks like what the Southlands was. This feels like home, and maybe that's why it looked a bit like Rohan. So yeah, I'm going to go with the forefather of Rohan, potentially turning into a Nazgul later, but mainly the Rohan thing.
Okay. I think Matthew Monkey said it well here. Most likely Nazgul, most like King of the Dead. I think I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, we can almost link the 3 of those theories together of Nazgul, Rohan, and King of the Dead. They could all come together. No, wait, no, they couldn't. Sorry, that was a really stupid comment. Sorry, in my head, no. Sorry, it's hot. As I was saying it,
the Rohan and King of the Dead one could, but the Nazgul one couldn't.
Yeah, sorry, the Rohan one could work with the King of the Dead or the Nazgul one as well.
Yeah, Chris says, question, orcs being so pale, is it pointing to Second Age orcs being stronger or paying homage to Azog? I think, to be honest, the orcs being pale is more just to show that they don't go in sunlight. At least that's my guess. And apparently they are vampires now. They actually burn in sunlight rather than just hate it, but...
like it's supposed to weaken them, but I'm not sure like they're supposed to sizzle.
No. There is instances in Tolkien's writings where orcs do fight and march in sunlight. So it doesn't burn them or kill them.
That's just the thing, though, is if they got the hoods up, they're fine.
Yeah.
It's direct sunlight on skin. So
So there's a lot of different feelings in these comments. Like Jack says, I'm most on board with Halbrand being one of the Nazgul or the King of the Dead.
Yes.
I agree. I do like the Rohan King one as well, but Ancestor.
When the stream is done, I will put up a poll on our community tab with this question. So I'd love you all to vote on that afterwards to see where everyone is landing as well.
Another one here, I'm on board with King of the Dead or the Nazgul. Seems to be the most common one.
Yep.
Sorry, there's so many comments, guys. I'm trying not to miss loads, but it's inevitable. We'll be here all day if we go through all of them. Why not both and Theo's father and Nazgul and Rohan? I suppose all 3 of those could work. It's definitely possible.
Yeah.
We have another super chat, this one from Kenneth Godby. Thank you very much. A heroic arc is maybe the most boring route for him in my mind. Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, it probably is quite boring.
I would like to see them take a character and us witness him fail.
Yeah.
I know that sounds really morbid, but yeah, it is almost that thing. If it's the predictable, like, reluctant hero, we know what's going to happen. If they take a twist on it, and then it's like we build him up, grow to really love this guy, and then he fails. Like, it'd be almost more realistic.
Yeah, it would be tragic. And a lot of the stories in Tolkien's works, especially in the earlier ages, are very tragic. Do something tragic. So yes, great point. Thank you very much for the comment and the super chat, Kenneth. We're around for about another 5 or so minutes, guys. So get your questions in.
Yeah, we'll take the stream to an hour.
Yeah. We are melting right here. Oh, water. Good idea.
Yes.
Good idea. Watch him fall like the kingdom of Numenor. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like. I mean, I guess the other option could well be is what if Halbrand is none of the above? Don't know how. Don't know where they would go. But what if they do something with him now that's nothing to do with any of these? What if he is just some random guy they found in the sea who did steal this thing off some corpse, and he's nothing special, and maybe maybe he kind of comes to nothing. Maybe it's just a connection to maybe, I don't know, have Galadriel show more trust in men or something. But that is just it. He is just a standard man, and he'll sacrifice himself later on and die.
To be honest, I'm actually worried about that. I'm worried that he is just... He probably is a new character. But I don't know. It's one of the mysteries that's got me watching this show. It's
almost one of those things. Like, when I said that then, that was literally just thinking off the top of my head. So if I can do that, and that's the story they go with, that's probably not a good sign.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want something that's that predictable and you can make up on the spot to be your final idea.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
There's a comment here from Ven Rathan. Did Elendil have a daughter in the books? No, he did not. He just had Isildur and Anarion. I've got to be honest, when they first introduced the daughter, her name escapes me, I was very concerned that they were basically replacing Anarion with her, because we didn't see any casting or anything for Anarion leading up to it. And I was like, oh, no, what have they done?
Like, I get the feeling we're not going to see him at all in the first season.
I don't know, maybe not. But when they did eventually bring him up, I was like, ooh, thank you.
Yeah.
But it doesn't bother me that they've added a sister. I don't get why, but
like,
whatever.
I can understand in the sense they've done it because of the whole female figure within the family. Basically, she's acting like the mother and the sister at the same time. But it's also why.
Interesting comment here. Do we think he'll be a character in all 5 seasons? I think that just depends on where they go with him. Obviously, if he's going to be one of these major characters that we're theorizing, aka Sauron, hopefully not, then yeah, he will be. If he is just some random dude that they've brought in to give Galadriel something to... Ooh.
What you
I'm not going to say something to do. Something to help her storyline along, then yeah, I don't think he will last that long.
I mean, I guess, because if they do go down the Nazgul route, then he will have to be a Nazgul by the time of the War of the Last Alliance. So whether it would almost be like he's a Nazgul and they tried to save him from being a Nazgul and bring him back later on so he could be around longer, I don't know. But if he does end up being a Nazgul and gets changed, then technically he would be gone by the end. So yeah.
There's a comment here. What the hell is Isildur even doing in this show? He's not supposed to be born for at least 1,600 years. Do we know what year it is in the show?
No, they've kind of not specified. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense timeline-wise for the books. Well,
we do know that they said this before the show came out, that they've compressed the timeline. So
yeah, like just one other example is although it hasn't been confirmed yet, we are pretty sure that the dwarves have discovered Mithril within Khazad-dûm. That's part of the reason why they're flourishing so well, especially after the only 20 years comment like Elrond made. But the elves weren't really meant to move like to Eregion until after the dwarves had found Mithril, because that's part of the reason why they moved to those lands so close. But obviously at this point they don't know about it, but they are there. So there's things like that. There's multiple things like this that are the case. So I don't think they're even specifying years, because it just wouldn't work.
No,
it would confuse people too much, I think, if they started saying years.
And there's been a lot of complaints about people, or from people, with them compressing the timeline. But if I'm honest, from a writing perspective, it totally makes sense to me.
Yeah, I don't really understand. Like, I would have loved them to have done it in a way, but I also don't understand how they would have got around the men.
Half your characters are immortal, half the mad.
Yeah, like you can do like, just do a time jump. Well, it's like, yeah, but then you've got to introduce a whole new, like, say it's Numenor, everyone on Numenor will be new after that time jump. So obviously depending on the amount of time, but yeah, it creates so many headaches.
For sure. There's a comment here from John. Fancy showing off one of the boys on stream. I'm assuming you're referring to our new minis. Sadly, we can't. They are in a different room, which is quite far away, 2 doors away. But what John is referring to is we've just released some new miniatures on the Tabletop Alliance. I think I have a picture
Mm.
I can show a picture on my phone if that helps. But this is now available on tabletopalliance.co.uk if you're into your miniature wargaming.
Yes.
That's a pretty cool one. And some dwarves are coming up soon. So, yeah, check it out. Thanks for the reminder, John. Of course, designed by John January himself.
Yes, yes.
Comment here, Halbrand is simply... I guess you mean Halbrand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's simply Halbrand. That's kind of... Yeah. Johnny says, I'm telling you, Halbrand is the Batman. Now that I'm on board with.
Imagine that plot twist.
There's like a really tense scene. The camera's going in slowly on his face. The music is building. He looks up at the camera. I'm Batman. I'm in. Yeah, another one here. Maybe she's Sauron. Yeah. She's not Galadriel, so... Oh, wow. I'm Sauron and so is my wife. Hope she's not listening. We'll go another 2 minutes, guys. We've been over an hour now. This is an hour-long stream. So if you've got any burning questions that you're dying to ask, get them in now. We have skipped so many. Obviously, guys, if you want to make sure we see a comment, then feel free to super chat. It doesn't matter how little, it highlights the comment for us, so we do not miss it.
Yes.
Joseph says, I'll be pretty bummed out if that Pulp Fiction chest is anything other than Mithril.
I don't. To me, it can't be anything else.
No. Yeah, like we said before, we've seen some people saying that it could be like a Silmaril or the Arkenstone. No, it's Mithril. Come on. It's Khazad-dûm.
Yeah, that... If it was anything... If they made it a Silmaril for one, I generally don't know if I could watch another episode.
No, yeah.
Like, not even out of curiosity. I almost feel like I couldn't. Yeah, it's...
I feel the same with... If they make the stranger Gandalf, and especially if they call him Gandalf, that it'll be hard to carry on watching. And one of the biggest things for me, the biggest no-nos, is if there ends up being any kind of relationship, especially sexual, between Galadriel and Halbrand.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Not only will I stop watching this show, I will burn it to the ground.
Yeah.
Please don't happen.
Like, we are definitely two of the more forgiving, maybe YouTubers.
Yeah.
Following
just fans
this
in general,
show.
I think.
Yeah, we are a lot more accepting of changes than many others, but there are so many things that we would 100% draw a line at.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're really towing that line right now, and I'm hoping that they will just, everything will pay off and it will be good.
Yeah.
And they don't just change stuff for the sake
what we
of
keep
it.
saying. I mean, there's certainly things that they can do within this season that will completely put me off, but there's also no need to judge things until there's a payoff. Because again, they could be throwing us off the trail. Flame of Udun says, how do you guys feel about the Harfoots leaving people behind? I feel it's stupid. But they also then say, they explain, like, avalanche or landslide, whatever it is. So.
Yeah, I actually accept it, and it makes me understand how they would survive. Okay, yes, in terms of, well, you leave people, there's less...
No BS here at the BS. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so, yeah, like, I can understand that, like, their whole thing is they move, they never stay in one place too long, they don't want to get found, and that's how they survive. So if someone is injured and going to slow them down and risk them of being seen, it makes perfect sense to survive as a people that they would have to just leave people behind. And they can't stop and mourn. They can't wait around. Otherwise, they risk being found by the big people.
Yeah.
And that could make great issues for them.
I get it.
I understand it. And I kind of like it in a way of going like, oh, they're these happy little hobbit type people. And it's like, well, actually, no, they are quite cutthroat.
Yeah.
So there is that part to them. It's like they're innocent, but they do what needs to be done to survive.
True.
And it makes them a little bit more believable of how on earth they would survive in this world.
True. That's a very good point. There's some law breaking and then there's blasphemy. Halbrand and Galadriel romance would be blasphemy. I agree, Chris.
Yes, because I've seen that. There's been that image going around social media of like a description of Halbrand as the character. And it says, like, the first line is love interest of Galadriel. But nobody seems like, I don't know if anyone actually knows this, but I can't seem to find the original source of this. Like, I don't know if it's anything official, if it's just some random article who's just writing up about the show, and that's just how they've labeled him, because someone who knows nothing, it probably is looking like it would go that way.
To be fair, let's be fair now. The most beautiful being in the known world. How could she not fall in love with that?
Although, if she dares give any hairs from her head to anyone before Gimli, that's it.
Yeah. That's another
Gone.
more blasphemy.
Gone.
Tell me, where is Halbrand? For I much desire to speak with him. Just reminds me of the song. Exactly. I wish everyone was understanding as you both are. We're understanding so far.
Yes.
Like we said, there are things that will. Nope.
Yeah. There's a thing that frustrates me with a lot of YouTube kind of stuff is when people just hate stuff and rant about stuff because it gets views. Which isn't really being critical about it. Like we just want to be critical in a good way, have a discussion about it, and kind of break stuff down, not just be like, oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
It's dreadful. It's the worst thing ever. It's a disgrace to everything that's ever lived before it. It's like, well, no, but why?
Yeah.
Give me a good debate out of it, and I'll have that debate. But don't just rant.
And that's why we've decided to do these videos as live streams, because we can debate. We can, you guys can question us on why we're feeling this way, and yeah. And
it's why we ask you, if you really do hate the show or you absolutely love the show, we just want to know why. The comments we just say, oh, it's awful, oh, just stop watching it, or why are you watching it? It's fair enough, but just give us a reason and we'd happily discuss it, because maybe you can help us see something or we'll help you see something. It can work both ways.
Thank you very much. We are very handsome guys. Appreciate that. Angel. Those are my favorite kinds of comments.
Yeah, leave us loads of those comments. That's all we want.
Shmoony says, I'm enjoying this show more than House of Dragon, to be honest, purely because it's got folk theorizing and debating. Yeah, I haven't actually watched House of Dragons, but it's House of the Dragons?
House of the Dragon.
Yeah. I didn't ever finish Game of Thrones. I just wasn't that into it, but
I did, and I loved it up until whatever season 5 or 6, whichever one it was. And I will watch House of the Dragon, but I'm waiting until the Rings of Power is over to do that. I want to binge that one in one, not do it week by week. So, okay, bye.
Bye. You guys are all blind. Halbrand is the Hobbit. The Hobbit.
It's like the Durin of the Hobbits.
Right. Yeah. Flame of Voodoo. I cannot stand Rings of Power, but to be fair, it was a bad idea to start with. They do not have the rights to enough material to really stick to the lore and make it good.
I can ask you a question now. Sorry, this comment has made me think of a question.
Okay.
And I feel like
for me.
Yeah, a question for you, and a question for everyone else as well, obviously. But yeah. Okay, so now we've got our Second Age show. We've seen a couple of episodes of it. Obviously, at the very beginning, there were all the rumors that we were going to get something like a Young Aragorn show.
Yeah.
Do you wish they had gone at this point now with Young Aragorn instead of Second Age?
Oh, that's a great question.
And why?
Oh, man. I almost want to say, like, I definitely would like to see that. But we have a slightly more fleshed out idea of young Aragorn's life.
Yep.
So it's harder to forgive them changing things there. Whereas we know so little about what happened within the thousands of years of the Second Age, I can forgive them changing things more.
Yeah. Okay, fair.
What about you guys?
So what was your answer to that then?
Sorry, I like the fact that they're sticking with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. Cool.
How about you?
At this point, I still prefer the Second Age because it's so much. There's so much more unexplored material, and we're only 3 episodes in. Never know. After the first season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, my answer might be very, very different.
Yeah.
But at this stage, there's still so much potential.
Yeah.
That they could reach. I'm still on board with the Second Age.
I agree. Someone said to me the other day that judging a show on its first season is silly because there's been plenty of shows out there. I think the example they used was Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. First season was crap and ended up being a fantastic show. So, I mean, I've never watched it myself. I'm taking their word for it, but yeah.
And I mean, I guess that is the thing of the showrunners may also be kind of doing this and going, okay, let's put out season 1, how we think people might like. And then they're going to wait for all this reaction. They're going to wait for all the feedback, even if they may not admit it, and go, okay, seasons 2 onwards, we need to change this because this is not done well. These elements have, so we're going to stick on those routes. But for example, like a Galadriel type character that they are potentially messing up at this point, they might go, okay, we need to find a way to change that. So they might almost be using season 1 as a testing ground, which is a very expensive testing ground, and Amazon may be too proud to ever admit anything. I don't think it would ever be public that would be the case, but they may well be doing it. There may well be rewrites due to feedback, and it might end up leading to an absolutely amazing show later on. But a show, like you say, with a season 1 that is perhaps less than desirable.
No, I agree. Comment here that I definitely want to address from Andrew. Love the channel. Thank you very much.
Hey.
I'm enjoying it, though it feels more like a fan fiction to me than the world I picture while reading Tolkien. Now, this is important. At the end of the day, and I'm kind of, I argue this with people a lot.
This feels like you've said it before. So
yeah, I have. Professor Tolkien is no longer with us. So
what?
I know. It seems to be news to a lot of people, especially those that are constantly comparing Rings of Power with House of the Dragon. Now, as he's no longer with us, anything that's written is fan fiction. I don't care what rights you own. I don't care who told you could do what. If it's not coming from Tolkien, it's fan fiction.
Which also includes a lot of what Christopher Tolkien published.
Yeah.
Even as his son, he took notes and published them. These are notes that J.R.R. himself might have gone, no, don't, no, that's for the bin, please. No. But Christopher might have read it and gone, I like that. Let's put that out there.
Yeah.
We will never know.
Exactly. So I feel like it is fan fiction, and I am a big fan of fan fiction. We watch other fan films on YouTube and stuff, and we've even done videos on them in the past. So
we have made our own fan fiction.
Yes, exactly. It's called The Ranger. Check it out. Don't. The other thing here is you've mentioned it feels more like fan fiction to you than the world that you picture while reading Tolkien. Now, everyone's imagination works differently. So who's to say that how the writers envision Tolkien's world when they read it, this show might be spot on, you know? You might picture something completely different to what I picture. So what I see as very Middle-earthy and very Tolkien-y, you might disagree with. It's what you see in your mind's eye when you read. So it's a great point.
Yeah, it is one of those that, for example, Khazad-dûm is fairly close to what I pictured in my head. A bit more green, for example, a bit more like growth within it. But I love that. However, somewhere like Lindon is a lot closer to what I picture.
Yeah.
So it does kind of show. And Numenor is almost nothing like I pictured, but
quite like
close to the same ground. It's close to the same. It's a weird one, but it's also like I wouldn't have, if I had to, and I could possibly have any talent to draw it how I pictured it, it wouldn't have looked like that. But there's elements of it that come from the same things, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
And that's where the idea of people's imaginations being different comes into it.
Yeah. I've seen loads of comments I still want to get to, but we are over, so I'm going to go through them quickly.
Okay.
Kyle says Halbrand has never shown wearing a ring from what I've seen. No, because the rings have not been made yet.
Yes.
Ted says, love the new live stream aspect, guys. Makes it a better experience overall. Thank you so much. I feel like every time we go live, we're getting better and better.
Yes. And also, like, we will say that this isn't just for when the Rings of Power is up. We
want to go live.
We hope to do at least one a week, probably just one a week, a week after the show is up as well, about all sorts of topics not related to the show. Yeah. We hope to keep this as an ongoing thing.
Yeah, this is the best part about being a YouTuber, is interacting with like-minded people.
Yes.
So I hope you guys are enjoying. I'm not gonna lie, when we first started live stream, it was awkward and difficult because we gained about 100,000 subscribers through lockdown.
Yes.
And it was like, oh, let's do a live stream and talk to all these people. Oh,
yes.
God. And it was really intimidating. We didn't even show our faces. And trust me, talking live to, I mean, at the moment, there's 320 of us in here.
Hey.
It's 329. It's nerve-wracking. It can be difficult. So the more we do this, the better we'll get. But I'm glad you're enjoying it.
However, the thought of, if I actually pictured 329 people sat in front of me right now,
I know.
I don't think it would be as relaxed.
Where did you purchase your swords? Do they sell elven items? So this when we used to do our weekly live streams, this used to be an ongoing joke that every single live stream somebody would ask this question.
Yes.
We got them from a store local to us in Cardiff.
Yes.
Apart from this beautiful one.
Yes.
The Anduril, which was bought at a Comic-Con.
Yes. And the store's just called the Film and Television Store, isn't it?
Yes.
I don't know if they have an online store, though, is the thing.
Not sure. So we're miles behind on these comments, guys. John says, only thing stopping young Aragorn is who on earth do you cast? Plus, we have the hunt for Gollum. Well, obviously, the casting's easy. They just cast me. I can dye my beard; it's not a problem. But I'm
you have been the Ranger before,
exactly.
So
Clearly, like, go and watch it. I'm the obvious choice for Aragorn. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a tough role to cast for sure.
But it's like that with anything, though. I mean, they've recast. Look at how many they've cast as younger versions of themselves in The Rings of Power.
Yeah.
So.
$1 billion fan fiction. Serious? Yes, I'm serious.
Yes, and I will admit, if I had $1 billion to spare to be able to do it myself, I'd love to make some.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? I mean, there's some people out there that that love the idea of Tolkien's world in Middle Earth. This is not me, by the way. That would prefer something like the Rings of Power to what we have in the books. Just on one of our last live streams, we had a few people saying that the Silmarillion was awfully boring.
Yeah, it's unreadable.
Yeah.
Some people say so. Yeah.
Harvey says, I'd love to build some props from the series. That would be cool, man. Guys, if you haven't... Harvey, put your Instagram name in the chat.
Shall I give a quick
teaser?
Yeah.
Oh, guys, if you're...
Also, just to show that our fan film is actually...
Yes, so those of you that are members of our Patreon page, you will know that we have been raising money through Patreon for our own short film for quite some time now. And it is underway, and Harvey has been graciously helping us with some of the props and costume.
Whoop, Mike.
It's beautiful. Okay. Just so you know, this hasn't been made for James to wear.
No, it's not at all. Although, it is amazingly comfortable.
It is. And it's weird that we have very different shaped heads, but yet it fits both of us so well. I wish this was a more close-up camera so you could see details.
We will be posting pictures on our Patreon of this in all its great detail for those of you who are on there.
Yes.
Okay.
So there we go. It is happening, the short film, guys. If you want to support it, we will be shooting within the next 10 to 12 months.
Yes.
If you want to support it, you can be kind of involved if you sign up to our Patreon.
I'm sorry. We tried.
Our film will be the definition of...
but lore accurate to what?
Yeah, lore accurate to our universe.
Yes.
And it's perfectly lore accurate. John says, James, you look fantastic.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take that as the now when I'm not wearing the helmet and not when I was wearing it.
Matthew says, I take back my previous comment. You now look more like Lord of the Rings nerds with that helmet. What was your previous comment? How long ago was that? Was that a while ago? I don't know. I miss a lot of comments.
Yeah, we don't just say it. It is impossible to keep up with the comments as they come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess you said that we don't look like Lord of the Rings nerds. Well, I know. We have a wide variety of interests, right?
Yeah.
I'm outside of YouTube, martial arts is my full-time thing. We're both like big, massive football fans. So yeah, we're more than just nerds, guys. Halbrand will be a Nazgul. You're gonna have to go back and watch our stream. We covered it all. So one more time, how can I do this? We covered. Before we go, how do I do it? Okay, here we go. Is he Sauron?
Dun, dun,
Can't see these images. Is he... Oh, it's flicking through them. Is he a Nazgul or the Witch King? Is he the father of Theo? Is he... It's not changing. It's not changing, James.
Okay. Jake with the technical fault there.
Well, anyway. No image. Is he one of the ancestors of the founders of Rohan? A theory which I very much like. Here you go, I can just do that.
There we go.
Or is he the king of the dead? Those are our theories. If you've only just tuned in, guys, feel free to go back and go through the stream to catch up on everything we talked about. We tried our best to debuff these theories or back them up. That's pretty much it. Whoa. Football fans, who do you both go for? We are both Chelsea fans.
Yes.
For our sins.
Yes, 100% Chelsea fans. I'd love to have a football YouTube channel.
So would I.
You know,
if only we had more time.
Yeah, I don't know how people have time for that.
If anyone knows how to, clone yourself, that would be great.
That would be good.
I think that's pretty much it. Kaz of Doom FC. Damn right. Kazard, Emmanuel.
That would be a fun live stream discussing. If each realm had their own football team, who would win? And what positions would they play?
I believe the Melonheads did something similar, right?
Oh, they did, yes.
Yes, the Melonheads assigned Middle Earth characters to positions in a football team.
Yes.
Or something like that. Great idea.
Which, in fact, we will be on the Melonheads podcast in the future.
Yes, within the next few weeks.
I've forgotten after episode 5? 4?
Yeah, maybe.
6. In the future.
Oh, we've got a fellow Chelsea fan. Now I love you even more. Thank you so much. We love you too. Chris says Man City equal Mordor FC. Well put, well put. Poll? I don't think we can do a poll in here.
I feel like you can, but I don't know how yet. I will be
We'll try and figure it out.
put one on the community tab of the YouTube channel as soon as we are done with this.
Guys, again, go and check out Harvey
Yes.
Harrison on Instagram. Post some crazy stuff. Again, he
Yes.
made this helmet for us,
So talented.
which is awesome. Like, I wish you could see the detail.
Yeah.
This camera doesn't do it justice, but
Yeah.
it's just. Look at
To
that.
be honest, it's amazing that we can do stuff like we do with this channel and meet people as talented as you lot with the kind of things that you lot can do.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Okay, that's pretty much it. Jack says, cheers for the stream.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in. Thank you all so much for your comments, as usual. Thank you for the interaction, for the love, for the super chats. We appreciate you guys. You are the best. We wouldn't be doing this without you lot. So,
Yes.
like James said, we will be doing an after party, not a watch party, for the Rings of Power this Friday. It will be about 8 a.m.
Yeah, it'll be 8 a.m. UK time. I will get it scheduled within the next half hour after we're finished here. So check out the page. Remember to click the reminder on it so you make sure you join us.
A few people just saying now that they've only just tuned in and we're very late. Please go back and rewatch. If not, hopefully we can catch you all next time.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. Love you all. See you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.